pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Orr.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
Martinez. Upton.
Here.
Henniger. Here. Villagrana.
Present.
Okay, next we need the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting July 20th, 2015.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second it.
He's got to get
The
it
minutes
first.
of City Council meeting of August,
July 20th,
July 20th. So we
2015. We have a first and a very fast second. Roll call, please.
Baker.
Aye.
Upton.
Aye.
Villagrana.
We just want to move this along.
Henniger. Aye. Orr.
Aye. Okay, visitors are next, and the first person I want to call up would be Mr. Caruso, please. If you could please come up to the stand. I've asked Mr. Caruso here because of the loss of one of our councilmen, and I just think that it would be nice for him to say something in front of all of us for our Councilman Edwards, being he knew him quite well.
Like all of you, I was surprised to hear the passing of Mel. And even as we're gathered here tonight, we see an empty chair. Mel cared about this community very much. He had a heart for community. He loved what he did. And I couldn't see any other way fitting than to actually ask that those of you that would like, you could bow your head, because I'd like to say a prayer for wisdom and comfort and guidance for our community and for our council and for what we're going through right now. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening with grief in our heart. Lord, knowing that Mel is going to be missed as a friend, as a father, as a husband, as a member of this community. And I pray now that you would give comfort to everyone in this room that knew him on a personal level or a professional level. Bring guidance in their lives. Help them to work through this time. We know that grief is a passing of time, God, and we just ask that as time passes, that the grief would be less of a sting, but that we can keep his memory alive. I pray for wisdom for every man and woman that serves on this council. You give them godly wisdom. You also give them direction that is right for this community, according to the bylaws of this community, and according to what you would have in this community. I pray for comfort for everyone. I especially lift up his family. Be with them. Comfort them. Be with his friends that were on this council that know that it's going to be a tough road. I just thank you, Lord, that you are the great healer and that you can take things and bring it for your good. I thank you that we have this opportunity to gather together. I ask for wisdom and direction as this meeting goes on. And I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, our next guest is, what is this, Roger what?
Roger
McFall. As a visitor. Is he out? He's either here or...
I'm Roger McFall. I always tell people I did time in Florence because I was a fellow inmate in one of these chairs once. So. I'm here tonight to propose for your consideration an economic development incentive program for the city of Florence, or to extend the existing one. And I didn't know we had one, but Dory told me today that we did. It has an employees incentive program that incorporates all of the incentives for a vibrant economy. Here in Florence, we are only different by the market we have. I'm just going to lay out my own research and leave it up to you. The problem I found was that small townships have a difficult time gaining tax revenue when they have no market source within themselves. Everything is getting bought elsewhere. A use tax for new construction in Florence and many smaller municipalities is an attempt to gain up front what it cannot gain otherwise. Especially problematic, as a colleague of mine, Lillian Wright, pointed out, that if the tax rate exceeds the margin, it cannot refund. Most cities have come to that tipping point where it measures as best it can. It seems to me to be a short-term measure. That's all I've got figured out. 9 out of 10 Colorado municipalities invest in one or more programs to support or promote economic development. This investment provides the returns of a healthy climate for business and industry, more and better jobs for residents, new construction, building improvements, in short, a long-term increased tax revenue for a municipality. Counties, schools, school districts, and the state. This work positions Colorado ahead of the pack in pulling out of a great recession. The Colorado Municipal League 2015 State of Our Cities Towns Survey shows 62% of Colorado municipalities reporting a better economy in their community in 2014 than any prior year. Among the larger cities, 94% report a better economy. Municipalities engage in a wide range of economic development activities, including tourism promotion, special events, infrastructure improvements, tax and fee incentives, grants to business. Encouraging local business to expand or by recruiting new business requires a close working relationship with the private sector. This investment often involves a financial package that includes tax and fee incentives, capital improvement and redevelopment of projects, or additional economic development tools that many municipalities use effectively. The impact of these programs is painting a bright future for Colorado. When asked in the CML survey to share a success story of an improved economic development project, the median of the projects reported a yield of 40 new jobs and $315,000 in increased tax revenue for the municipalities. The efficient delivery of quality service and investment in economy development by our cities and towns is putting Colorado in the headlines for leading our nation's economic turnaround. The City of Canyon introduced, read, and passed the first reading of its economic stimulus program on May 4th of 2014. The city has since expanded the program to extend it to January 1st of 2018. Canyon City's Ordinance Number 2 of 2015 promotes incentives I think we in Florence should be encouraging as well. It contains water tap fee deferrals and waivers, building permit fee deferral and waivers, and use tax deferrals and waivers. I had inquired about a gas service to a new construction project to a representative of Atmos Energy here for a property here in Florence. The site was within the corporate boundary of Florence, and I was concerned about the cost because of the long setback to the structure. And he replied, "You build a house, and we will provide a meter to it on our own dime." That's how we get customers. It makes perfect sense, and in the long run, a market source and a tax revenue for a municipality. Large municipalities may afford greater supporting incentives, but as a small municipality, I think it is all the more reason to think in a competitive way. Thank you.
We can't hear you down there.
We can't hear you.
No, well, I just asked Roger, he read this, but what does he ask us of the council?
Well, I was proposing that we reintroduce our economic development incentives. Canyon City has one that's like, I think that should be a model for ours. I actually took it and copied and repasted our name on it because I think they're doing what we should be doing. We should be competitive. If they're waiving tap fees and permit fees and use tax fees, I think we should be doing the same thing. And we can't compete if somebody's going to build a house in Fremont County and they can do it for nothing in Canyon City, but it's $6,000 here. That doesn't make sense to me, and it's just not right. So I would propose that we draft an ordinance that we can pass that extends, like Dory said, we already have an economic stimulus package, but it's only for large corporations. So if we could consider doing it for, anybody who wants to build a house, like they do in Canyon, then I think that would be beneficial to Florence. I mean,
Mike, would it be proper to discuss what Wade and you and I have been discussing in terms of maybe answering Mr. McFall's questions?
I mean, we certainly could, whatever the council wants us to do. I mean, we look at it, we've been working on incentive packages. We definitely don't agree with what Canyon City has done. What they've done isn't very comprehensive. It's a simple waiver that doesn't make economic sense either. There's a lot of other things that we can do. That's why we worked so hard on adding into the renewal district, so we can give incentives and do things that work for development. Florence has been focused on trying to create jobs. We also want to try to do some things for housing starts as well. But how Canyon City has done it is truly very short-sighted.
well, you can have that opinion, but I think Canyon City would disagree with you, because that waiver of a water tap fee, the waiver of a charge, a use charge, you don't get that anyway. If no one builds here, if no one builds here,
crippling our.
if someone decides they don't want to have anything to do with Florence because of it, you won't get that revenue anyway.
Mr. McFall, we can put together a much better package than Canyon City can right now. Much better package, but at the same time, you've got some immediate costs that the city has to cover. We've got to cover a building inspector. We can't waive an entire water fee because we have a contract.
Exactly right. Yeah.
But we can do much better than Canyon City can do, because we've actually put some thought into it, way beyond what they've put into it. They simply went and said, oh, let's waive these fees. Our staff and our council has done more than that. So if you'd like to meet, we can show you where we can put a much better package together than Canyon City can. But it's
Have you done anything in
so
writing?
simple.
Have you done anything in writing so far?
Yes, we've got stuff that, as you saw in the books, we've actually got a whole bunch of things that we can do, and it is in writing. But we haven't looked at it as the simple way that Canyon City has done it. As that sounds great. You're going out and you're waiving some fees, but our council's talked about it several times about is that really an incentive? And is it working in Canyon City? No, it's not working in Canyon City. That's why they've extended it again, because it hasn't truly done hardly anything for their housing starts. People who do these kind of projects, they're like yourself, they're pretty sophisticated. They understand, and yes, a $15,000 waiver or something like that is great, but if you can put together a package that's actually worth a lot more than that, that's what we want to do. But also, this council has been instructing staff to focus on job creation as well. Right. So we have been heavily weighted toward job creation as to the direction we've been going.
I'd certainly look forward to seeing something in writing about that.
Roger, Wade and Mike have been closely working on this, and it's been in writing, and I talked to our city planner, and pretty soon it will be put in complete writing and presented to the council, and we'll see what goes on.
That'd be awesome.
I do think that there is a mistake with Canyon City in the respect that Florence is not a home rule city. As you're well aware, you was on the council, you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
But the problem with what Canyon City is doing, that if you recall in 2002, they had to go to the state and request emergency water because they don't have any storage of water. So if they give away free tap, what happens if another drought comes?
Right.
So, what we had to do, or rather what Wade and Mike have to do, is kind of weigh this and see where we can go with it, and decided going with the result.
Right.
But I promise you,
Water here is an enterprise,
Yeah.
so.
I promise you that Wade and Mike have really dug into this and it's got it going. You got my word on that
Right.
because I've been lucky enough to sit in on a couple of meetings with them.
I'd just like to look forward to that, so.
Thank you,
Okay,
Rob.
thank you.
Okay, do we have any other visitors out there? None, we'll move on to old business. Street closure, South Pikes Peak. Okay, that's you.
This was an item that we talked about at the last council meeting. Following the meeting, the city attorney talked to me and suggested that we return to the way we used to do these, which was more you have the applicants work it out with staff, because the way we've been doing it has been, frankly, really ineffective. We sit up here, we go through these discussions, and we don't have answers necessarily. So we've gone back to that. Myself and Mike De Laurentiis met with the chamber on this, and we believe we have worked out all the issues that were left. This is for a closure from starting at 6 p.m. on September 17th and ending at 2 a.m. on September 20th. Basically, this is preparing for Punkteak as part of the Pioneer Day celebration, as well as this also incorporates the traditional Louis Street dance that also occurs at that same time. So we rolled both of those together. Chief De Laurentiis had some concerns about leaving the alley open, and so we were able to work that out, that he did not want to see the alley left unbarricaded, because if traffic drove through there, it could create a substantial danger for the pedestrians who were at the various events. So we worked it out where there will be barricades put up. However, they're lightweight enough barricades that if an ambulance needs to go through there, they can move the barricades and get those moved for the ambulances. The sidewalks will be kept open so that people can move down. The exception to that will be during the actual Louis event. The sidewalk in front of Louis will be closed, but the one on the opposite side of the street will be open as it traditionally is, so people can move through there. They will be putting up signs on people's cars at the beginning of September, then again the week before and days before, just as we do for the car show, to give people warning that this is going to happen. The chamber has met with most of the property owners and will go back and meet, well, actually the tenants, and meet with those tenants to remind them that this is going to happen. We're not facing a bunch of opposition at this point. It seems to largely be folks who support it, want to work out the traffic issues, where they're going to park, all those kinds of things. But we believe that we were able to deal with all of the issues that council had expressed, and a few others that Chief De Laurentiis had concerns about. We have representatives from the chamber here if we have questions, but we're thinking it's probably ready to go, or maybe not.
So what you're saying is, in the future, staff is going to handle all street closures?
We're going to try to work these through, and so that so that when council has questions, put them to staff, and we should have already worked out that.
Okay.
We should have already worked it out.
It'll still come to council.
We'll still ask applicants to come and make, just in case we miss something, but rather than do it the way we've been doing it, it isn't very efficient.
Paul?
I understand. I think this is great. I've only got one question, and only simply because I live by there. I live by there. So my question to you is that you changed it from on September 24th, you changed it from midnight to 2 o'clock. Will the band be playing until that time? Is there a time that the band will be cleaning?
About 2 hours at the time to tear it down, so you can reopen.
Okay, so the band probably will stop at midnight.
Right. That's prior to midnight.
Thank you.
I think that they actually have it set up for the band to stop at 11, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it's actually 11. Gives them 3 hours to clean up, because realistically, having it end at 11 and be out by midnight, they're probably not gonna make it.
Then if I may, I will make a motion that we allow the street closure for the Point Chamber of Commerce from South High Creek Avenue from Main Street to Front Street with alleyways left open for the purpose of a antique market and street dances, Louis Street Dance and Steampunk Ball from September 17th, 6 o'clock to September 20th at 2 o'clock a.m.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Villagrana,
Yes.
Councilman Henniger,
Aye.
Councilman Upton,
Aye.
Councilman Baker,
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
Aye.
Thank you,
Hey,
Council.
she's got it now. You got her straightened out. She's good to go. Okay, next thing, approval of the signature for bank investment accounts. That should be Mary.
Yes. What I had proposed last time, which I didn't have in front, was all the Canyon National and our MBS, which is multi-bank securities, to get the signatures on a more current basis with the mayor and Councilman Baker and Councilman Villagrana, as well as Mike, Dory, and myself to be the signatories. What I would like to look at over the next is taking some of these CDs that have 1 year and 91-day maturities and rolling them into a little bit better return on investment. They're really not generating much right now, but they were under an old signature guarantee, so we needed the new, and I don't know if you want to list them all, I mean, have them on the sheet, or if we just add that to the minutes, so that, but they're all listed for the different account numbers and what they need to be approved to.
Do you need a motion then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for the banks, their new rules are that they have to have it.
Has to be in the minutes.
It has to be in the minutes.
Okay.
Mary, have you checked the current interest on monies?
Oh, yeah.
And they still remain the highest?
No, they're not. That's why I need to be able to move right now. I'm not able to move any of them. It's under a prior finance. In fact, it goes back to, I think, Corinne. So I need to have them under mine so that when they do mature, that I can actually put them into a higher earning type security, which MBS has some really good ones right now, multi-bank. Most of our money sits at Colo Trust, which generates very little, but I have to do some research in regards to what government can invest in and what they can't. But these have all been invested at Canyon National back under the Corinne days, and they are not earning hardly anything. So
Do you need two motions on this?
it can be one under the banking, probably. Canyon National needs to just have it in the minutes that we're.
Okay. So we need a motion to move CDs into a higher yield area?
No.
Motion for signature.
Just signatures.
We should probably do-
Signatures.
Let's just do two motions. Let's
Yes.
do one motion that says we want to change the Canyon National Bank signatures so the new designated signers would be
Oh, I didn't spell that
Mike
right.
Patterson, Dory Williams, Mary Dice, Keith Orr, Larry Baker, and Paul Villagrana. If we could have somebody move that first.
I will.
Okay.
As stated by Mr. Patterson.
Paul with the second. Okay. And then you want to
Roll call.
Councilman Baker,
Aye.
Councilman Villagrana,
Aye.
Councilman Henniger,
Aye.
Councilman Upton,
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
Aye.
The only thing, it was Upton who made the motion.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's okay. Now you want to make another motion that says you're on the MBS Multi-Bank Securities. You are appointing Mary Dice, Keith Orr, and Mike Patterson as the signers on that account.
And that's based on resolution way back in 95, that it's the city manager, finance officer, and the mayor. And if you need to see that resolution from way back.
As stated.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Bill down,
As stated motion.
I'm not going to try to repeat that.
First and a second. Did you get the first and the second?
Who's the second?
Second.
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Okay. Roll call.
Councilman Villagrana.
Aye.
Councilman Henniger.
Aye.
Councilman Upton.
Aye.
Councilman Baker.
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
Aye.
That's all we need on that.
Okay, moving on to the new business. The 2014 cost assessment amendment. That's Mary again. Is that good thing you showed up tonight?
Third time's a charm on water cost computation. We had at the regional meeting and the new was presented. I have since spoke with Connie as well as Lucinda. I did make a call to Ron, who was not in the day I called, and he was off the next day. So I did not get a formal from Rockvale, but I did leave a message. If there was any dispute, please call me before we presented tonight for the new cost computation, which basically is removing the capital outlay at half and coming out of the water tap fund, so where the water taps. So this is the new, like I said, third time for the cost computation.
Mary, what's the difference in this between what the council previously approved? Number two?
Oh, I don't have the other numbers. It's reduced all of the entities from East Florence, Rockville, Williamsburg, Coal Creek, as well as Florence. All of them were reduced to about a break even from the year before. So there was no increase.
So this is what we discussed with them all at the last meeting.
Yes, at the regional meeting, and we've already put it into the water bills, and most of them will be seeing a credit on their bills. Because
So
it
this is
retroed back to May.
This is what their council knew was coming,
Yes.
at least the representatives at the water.
Yes, and I have talked to, like I said, I've talked to both Lucinda and Connie, which are the city clerks at Coal Creek and Williamsburg. So,
Then I make a motion that we approve the new water amendment to water cost computation for 2014, retroactive to 5/1/15.
Second.
We have a first, second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Villagrana.
Aye.
Councilman Baker.
Aye.
Councilman Henniger.
Aye.
Councilman Upton.
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
Aye. Okay.
and then following is their East Florence actually has a resolution attached to their rate. So,
You just need a
So
motion
just need,
the same thing.
to approve that, right? Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
theirs is more based on a resolution.
So we need a motion to
Pass these
a
forms.
resolution
14-2015.
14-2015. A motion to accept that.
Second.
First and second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Upton.
Aye.
Councilman Baker.
Aye.
Councilman Villagrana.
Aye.
Councilman Henniger.
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
Aye. Okay, next we need to do the appointment of the Historic Preservation Commission. And I see that there's one letter in here. Is that all?
Yes.
Well, we have 5 that were previously appointed, and it's a 7-member board. This gets us to 6 if you approve this person, and then number 7, hopefully we can find 2.
If we, do we know who this person is or anything? Or,
No, these ones you have to approve, I believe.
I'm sorry?
Don't they have to approve these? Council have to approve these appointments?
Yes, council approved.
Yeah, and she introduced herself to me a couple weeks ago, and I encouraged her to apply, and I think we just kind of missed her application. We were supposed to approve her at the last meeting and just didn't get around to it, so now she's on. And I also have a letter of interest from our intern last year, Sam Bobby, to be the youth appointment, and then council needs to decide on a council representative to the Preservation Commission. We set the first meeting time for next Friday at 10:30, so anybody who's interested in being that liaison is welcome to come, and even though only one's appointed, everybody's welcome to come to the meeting, so.
And then I believe we have a seventh member who wants to apply, and then
Then we're good.
I believe under our rules, the mayor's supposed to make that appointment, so I think if somebody's interested, they should tell the mayor.
I think we need an application, but then, yeah, I think under our rules, the mayor
Well, I mean,
appoints.
for a council.
Oh, for the council person, yeah.
Right.
I'm not sure how that,
I mean, they have to appoint the members, but whoever the council liaison is, somebody, they gotta tell the mayor they're interested, and then he formally makes the appointment.
okay, they're all,
Interested.
everybody's invited to the first meeting as well. So. It'll be really exciting stuff like working on the bylaws and some other things right off the bat, so don't miss out on that.
So we just need a motion, if you're open to
This
appoint Rhonda Painter.
And I,
Oh, go ahead.
Is she there?
I'll make a motion to appoint Rhonda Painter to the Preservation Commission.
second,
Okay, we have first and second.
Councilman Henniger.
Aye.
Councilman Villagrana.
Aye.
Councilman Upton.
Aye.
Councilman Baker.
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
Aye. Congratulations, Rhonda, wherever you are.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, should we appoint Samantha Bobby as well as the youth?
I
What?
want to get in trouble with Dory, but she sends an email today. I don't know if we need to have it on the agenda, so we have to wait.
We haven't even seen the email or anything.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
We
I
haven't
would
seen
wait.
nothing.
There's no rush.
Brian, we-
Maybe a mayoral appointment.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I told you that.
don't talk.
I didn't bring that agreement with me.
We'll have Brian figure out how we're supposed to do that, whether that's mayoral or council.
Every other committee is.
Well, but no, these ones get appointed by the council, the members, but we don't know. I think it's our first youth advisory, so Brian will have to tell us how to do that.
Okay.
I think those are appointed by the mayor, the
They are.
liaison and the
I
council.
keep
That's
telling
my
you
I'll
that
double check the ordinance.
7 times. Okay, next, let's move on before this gets bad. Task order number 56, Farnsworth Group for the South Reservoir Phase 2 project.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Harris. I'm the current ORC of the water treatment plant. I'm here to propose task order number 56. It's South Reservoir Phase 2 design and building. Without going through all this mumbo jumbo in layman's terms, we have bond money set aside, approximately $2.7 million for maintenance of our south reservoirs. Originally, our plan was to fix a leak on reservoir number 1, which is the northernmost cell of our south reservoirs. But to do so, we'd have to take it out of service and run completely off of reservoir number 2, the southernmost cell. To do that, if we took one off of line and ran off of 2, we would only have a very small percentage of that reservoir to run off of, only about 2 to 3 days worth of water on a normal summer day's use that the plant produces, which is a scary thing. So it was agreed by my predecessors and Richard Saxton from Farnsworth and myself that we go ahead and fix some issues with South Reservoir number 2 before we get to number 1. So that being said, the first thing wrong with South Reservoir number 2 is that the state engineer's office has limited us to only being able to fill it to 5 feet below the overflow because of a leak that the dam, the reservoir, is having right now, and fear of it breaching. We are leaking about a gallon and a half a minute, almost 2 gallons a minute out of that reservoir, and have been for quite a while. So we can't fill it all the way, and that top 5 feet is approximately 25% of our storage there that we are just losing right now because we can't fill it. Let's see. That reduces it 20 acre feet, which is 3 to 4 days of typical summer production from the water plant. So 25% is quite a bit of storage we could use. The next thing is, besides the leak, is the 12-inch PVC line that is bypassing reservoir number 1 is, well, it was kind of installed incorrectly, and there's actually no plans dating back from the 1990s when it was installed, getting approved by the state and okayed to even put it in service or anything. So this pipe has a hump in it, and it's at a higher elevation, so we can only use about really half of the reservoir, the height of the reservoir. Excuse me. Let me show you all a picture. It's much easier to explain here. Alright, so with the hump in the reservoir, we can only use the top half of the reservoir worth of water to feed the South Water Treatment Plant. Well, not being able to fill the top 5 feet of the reservoir limits us to just that small blue area of that reservoir right now. So this project is proposing that we replace this line, this 12-inch line, with an 18-inch line that would sufficiently feed all the water we need at the water treatment plant currently and in the future. It would increase it by about 4-fold. Plus excavate it down to a proper elevation so we can use most of the reservoir. Excavating it down to where we can't use the bottom 6 to 8 feet of the reservoir, which is not what we want to do right now or at any time, because it's water we don't really want to treat. It's so turbid and mucky down there. We would like to pull off the middle and bottom anyways. Another part to this project is putting in a intake tower that's with a catwalk from the edge of the reservoir out to this intake structure that would allow us to pull water from various levels in the reservoir, from the top and the middle. The current drain pipe and pipe going around number 1 reservoir is only on the bottom. So we're sucking all that horrible dirty water that we don't want to treat anyways and bypassing number 1 if we were to do that. So by building this tower, we'd be able to draw water from wherever we want in the reservoir, the top or the middle. Any questions?
Nope. I think everybody already, you got one?
Oh, no, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve task order number 56, Franzberg Group for the South Reservoir Phase 2 project.
Second. What the cost is? Yeah, let's...
Oh, I'm sorry. The estimated cost for this is $1.4 million.
Cost of
Well,
$1.2 million.
But right now, we're just approving the engineering. I think.
Yeah, that's
We're just approving the engineering for the amount of $95,700.
Correct.
$700.
Is that part of your motion, Charlotte?
I'll include that.
$95,700 in engineering fees.
Engineering fees, right, and I'll second it.
Okay, we have a first and second roll call, please.
Counselor Henninger?
Here? Oh, yeah,
You're right.
Councilman Upton?
Aye.
Councilman Villagrana?
Aye.
Councilman Baker?
Aye.
Mayor Orr?
Aye.
And we don't want to make it really easy on bidders when this goes up to bid. So we just want to say, so they'll have to listen to the minutes to get the 1.4 million figure. So let's not put that in the minutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Next is Resolution 15-2015, declaring vacancy on City Council.
Okay, with that, yeah, we don't have to read it. Unfortunately, given the circumstances, we wish there were a more delicate way to word it than the way it's worded. But this declares the vacancy, and basically what it says, that council declares a vacancy, and then within 60 days, they fill the vacancy or put it out to municipal election. Unfortunately, because, as we'll discuss in a short time, the petition process to be on council starts tomorrow, we're in this very difficult situation that basically you're not really in a position where you're in all likelihood going to be able to fill it. And so I believe that, and Brian, correct me if I say anything wrong, that the recommendation is that you probably leave this unfilled until the municipal election and go with the city council of 6 until that time. And then at that point, the top 2 vote getters in Ward 1, the person who receives the most votes, and Brian, this is where I'm not sure if I'm right, but the person who receives the most votes would get the 4-year term, and the person who receives the second most votes would get the 2-year term. If we only have 2 people running, that would mean they both win. If we only have 1 winning, I guess Mr. Upton's in for 6 years. No, I'm just kidding. And at that point, we would have to figure out what we're going to do to fill that position at that time. Did I get that right?
Let's think through this a minute. If you declare the vacancy tonight, the statute gives you 60 days to fill it. And if you don't fill it, then you have to put it on the next ballot. The statute also says that regardless of whether you fill it or not, it's got to go on the ballot because you use the next election to fill the remainder of Mel's term. So if you didn't have enough people run in the next election, well, but you've got to declare the vacancy in order to empty the seat. So I'm just trying to think through this here. I think Mike's got it right. I guess we cross the bridge when we come to it if we don't have enough people run, but I'm thinking that's probably not going to be an issue. At least we hope not.
And my original thought was, I don't like the idea of 2 council members having to run against each other sort of for the same positions, but the reality of it is the choice is probably worse for you as a council, because if you declare the vacancy today, you couldn't possibly fill it until the next council meeting at the very earliest, and really that would be premature because people getting letters in, etc. The period for people to get signatures ends on August 24th. So you're potentially in that spot where you would have to choose between people who would put their name in on the ballot and petitioned. So it puts you in a fairly untenable position at that point as well. So,
yeah, if you appointed somebody in the next 60 days, they'd have to run again anyway, or just fill out the term until the election and
it could be that in the next 24 days, only, or not 24 days, but until the 24th, next 3 weeks, only one other person puts in, and say it's Mr. Upton and somebody else in Ward 1, I'm assuming he's putting in, then at that point you may choose to fill that position early anyways, but that's something that you don't have to make a final decision today. You simply declare the vacancy and you decide in the coming weeks.
Now, I've heard 2 things, you say 2 things.
Yeah, because I kind of said 2 different things.
So,
not intentionally.
The question is, if we would make a motion that the resolution declaring a vacancy be held, not filled until the November election, is that?
We're going to assume it's going to be filled then. The question is whether or not you want to fill it with somebody else, or perhaps the winner of that election in the interim.
I was trying to be clear, but I probably wasn't. What I'm recommending that you do is you declare the vacancy. Once you declare the vacancy, then really you can sit back for the next 3 weeks and see what happens. If one or none put in Ward 1, then we have a problem. If 2 or more put in, then we at least have enough people to, you could at that point decide to appoint somebody. You could not decide to appoint somebody until the election. It all is really up to the council. Right now, all we really probably need you to do is declare the vacancy, and then we'll figure it out, sort it out in the coming weeks. I think you're making it too complicated by trying to speculate on what's going to happen.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 15, 2015, resolution declaring a vacancy on city council.
Second.
We have first, second, roll call, please.
Councilman Baker,
Aye.
Councilor Henniger,
Aye.
Councilman Villagrana,
Aye.
Councilman Upton,
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
Aye.
Thank you, Council. I should have just kept it simple. Just trying to give you a sense of that once the next 3 weeks is up, it actually, you're going to probably have to take further action at that point, and we'll have to figure it out.
It's a difficult situation. It really is.
Okay, mayor's report, I have no report tonight. Committee reports. Anyone? Charlotte?
Not necessarily a committee report, but an urge to form a committee for the wireless, or for the internet and broadband committee for the city of Florence. I would like to start filling members of that so we can start working towards implementing the plan that we approved with UACOG.
Great, I think it's a great idea.
So if you'd be willing to put out a press release, or however you guys want to do
For
it.
committee.
And make this an ad hoc committee serving a temporary period of time, not necessarily a permanent committee like we just did with the historic preservation.
Right.
Okay.
Till they get it in. Right. Paul?
I don't particularly have a committee report. However, Mr. Caruso mentioned everything concerning Mel. I think the only thing that Mr. Caruso missed was the fact that Mel Edwards was probably one of the biggest Bronco fans that I have ever known. And in honoring Mr. Edwards, that's why I wore the Bronco shirt today. Thank you, Mayor.
Who was? Okay, anyone else?
Well, just for the record, I'll be out of town for the next meeting with the medical for my wife, so that means nobody else can miss.
We're going to do everything we can to twist Mr. Martinez's arm to get him in. He's had surgery, and so we're hoping that we can get him here.
You would have had to bring him in by ambulance.
If Mr. Upton misses the one item that would probably matter, I mean, if we don't have a quorum, the one challenging item, and I would ask Mr. Bryan, City Attorney, Mr. Frederickson, the closure of the last block that they talked about tonight over by the museum, because it's not state highway. Worst case scenario, we could do that at the first meeting in September and still be okay for that September 19th date.
Sure, Mr. Hinkle can handle it next meeting.
Well, what I'm saying though is if for some reason we don't have a quorum,